Hello, and welcome to RIME Entertainment Showcase with your hosts, Rita and Mel.
Hi everyone, and welcome to RIME Entertainment Showcase. Today we have two special guests. They are musical artists all the way from the US. I'd like to welcome you, or we'd like to welcome you to Banjii and Mayuri. Thank you.
Welcome. Yeah, thank you. Okay, I have to say that you are the first person, we've done many of these, that has got my name right at first go. I feel like it's probably because you've already heard the name before, but like, so this is, we have started out on the right foot.
We usually have to start it over.
Yeah, we generally have 3 takes to get past this stage, so.
All right, perfect. One spot.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about yourself. Where did this musical journey begin?
Well, it depends on it's subjective. Like my story began in India and his began in the US, and I made my way to the US about 10 years ago. And it then took me another 10 years to make my way to his artist gallery / music school. And it happened so because we were neighbors. I had just moved in, but that was also not right away. I had moved in a year before. And I met him at this artist market in 2020, right when the pandemic kind of had, started and taken off. And because of the pandemic, he was putting up these artist markets to support the artists. I bought a few paintings, and then that turned into me being like, I'll do music lessons with you. Let's write some songs together. We started writing songs. And the very first song we wrote, that's honestly the moment. Because when I was writing it, when I wrote the words, it was just like a hobby. But I brought them to him, and then he put the melody to it in 30 minutes. And I felt truly seen and heard. Yeah. For the first time, I could feel it. And I was like, okay, this is it. This is not just a project or just a hobby, something really special has happened in this moment. And so I was all in that moment. I'm like, this is something big. Yeah. It obviously took him a much longer time to get to that understanding.
So I think that first song was September 2020.
Okay.
But I've been doing my musical journey started 22 years ago.
Yeah,
I've been doing it the whole way ever since. But this musical journey together started in September 2020, and we started this project, this video series, September of 2021.
Amazing.
That's great. It's almost like that synchronicity that kind of happened that brought you two together to be able to be on this musical journey together and find each other as well.
Yeah, I mean, it is synchronicity in every way. We're the exact same age. So, there's
from completely different parts of the world.
Exactly, yeah.
And I bring half the stuff to the table and he brings the other half. It's equally divided, and together it just becomes complete. So there's no way this specific project would have happened with just one of us,
What was it like for yourself, Banjii? Obviously, were you working completely solo prior, and then that must have been quite different to now collaborate with Mayuri after you kind of used to your own space, I suppose.
Yeah, well, it's funny. My oldest son was commenting on how many different bands I've had. I've had a lot of, that's actually my favorite part of music, is collaborating with people. So I've always had a band, but I mostly only collaborated with one other songwriter up till now, which is Seth Livingood. Amazing songwriter, Seth Livingood. You guys check him out. But yeah, it's a singular experience, and it's beautiful. And all of our, I think anytime you collaborate with somebody, it's a unique situation, right? To that person. And so this one has been different than any other, and it's been amazing. Yeah. And it's really cool helping Mayuri because she doesn't play instruments very much,
Mhm.
giving her like the platform to express her beautiful soul.
Yeah, that's how I experience it. Like I always had, not always, but I've been working towards being able to express a specific message, and that's what our video series and our album is, right? Like it's based on the chakras, and it's based on a very clear like message that we're trying to convey. I wanted to do that before we met.
Yeah, she was writing a book.
I was writing a book. I was in the process of writing a book. And the book had my own story in it. But when that moment happened, I was like, my platform, this is my platform. And the reason for that is because, you know, when you're writing, it's kind of in theory, right? But this is like the feeling. You cannot really, you cannot challenge how you feel about something. And so it really took the message to like the very next level. And so that's how, you know, the collaboration started. And then a lot of it, like we go with the flow. So now we know what the platform, we knew what the platform is, we knew what the message was. And then it was more so, okay, now how do we execute on it? And that's been the rest of the journey.
Yeah.
And Mayuri's really talented in all sorts of ways, but we weren't planning on doing this. We were just going to make a record.
Yeah.
And maybe 1 or 2 music videos made, but we think about that later. But it turned into an actual, it's a video series that, you know, we're incorporating the visual arts as well, which, yeah, going with the flow. I mean, that's locked in now. We're not going to change that.
Yeah.
But yes, that's where we're at.
Yeah. So it's almost like you've laid the foundation, and then it's just like we're just running with it and see where it takes us.
This is how we approach even our lives and the project and music, is that the intention is important, you know, like, because without the intention, you don't have a destination, but the intention is the destination, and the belief, like, no, we're in this all the way 100%. Those are the 2 things that come first, and then the rest, we're just living our day-to-day lives, and it literally, the synchronicity, it unfolds, right? Like the things are happening around our lives that happen to be actually aligned to the 7 chakras, you know, in order. And so we literally can then take those moments and all that inspiration and turn it into every video sequentially. So both those things now, like our project, but also our life, have become like one.
Right.
Amazing. So talking about the project Uncommon Love Story, so it goes into a deep journey about, you know, from starting from how you met and onwards, and how you're kind of evolving. Can you tell us and the viewers more about it?
Yeah, so the idea, I'm going to just assume that maybe not everybody knows about the 7 chakras. So it's an Eastern concept. The idea is that there are 7 like points in your body that hold like energy, and like they hold like emotions. And if it's energy is flowing freely through those 7 points, then you're aligned with your purpose in the universe. So we're taking those 7 themes, and every one of those themes is turned into a music video. So, and a song. So the first theme,
and we're doing it in order.
Amazing.
And so the first one is like being grounded, which is the root chakra, and that was copper lines, and it was setting the intention, and it was a very earthy video, and everything about it was like about the like connecting to the earth. And
yeah, we did it on a plateau in Sedona, Arizona.
Amazing.
It couldn't be more grounding.
And we also got married as a part of the video. Like, so all like that was the whole thing of like our life echoing the work, because we were actually just going there to do the video, and on the way there we were like, why don't we just get married in 48 hours as a part of the music video?
Yeah, and me being like from the country, I was like, oh man, whoever's the photographer for the wedding could maybe like do the music video for us.
Exactly.
I'm like,
Yeah,
And they were like,
why
no,
not?
actually they said no. They're like, no, we do weddings.
but and so it was awesome because like I typed Sedona elopement,
Mm.
which turns out to be an actual company that plans elopements in Sedona.
Brilliant.
So talk about like that's what I mean by synchronicity. And so they organized our wedding and our music, and then the music video just came together through that process. And that's actually when we started building our team too, because the editor of that is now our editor on all the different videos. And then the second chakra, you know, is more focused on like sensuality. And our video is also, you know, ancient lover. It's like water, which is associated with that chakra. And so we kind of did it like on the beach in California. It was all about love and sensuality. And that third video is like the more serious of the three. And that's emotionality, which is the third chakra. So it's called Gaslighted. So it clearly, you know, an emotional subject. So that's what we've done so far. And then the fourth chakra is the heart chakra. So it's all about, you know, connection, community, and that's what we're working on right now. And so it will have all those themes, like different artists other than just us, and our community will, you know, come together to do that video. And so that's how it's coming together. And then you have like the rest of the three chakras, like, you know, expression, intuition, and, you know, connecting to the universe. Like we'll take those themes. We already have the songs in mind because we had written them all last year, but they all evolve. Like as we get to that, like that part of the project, we kind of just start over and say, okay, which parts of this song do we want to keep? And then that turns into the video and the story.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Like right now, we're recording the fourth song, the audio, and I'm struggling because I'm like, we wrote this last year.
Mhm.
And it's like, do I need to rewrite a verse about the war? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, or like some way of addressing it, just because it is real time and it's happening now.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of the project, you know, while the intention is set, the flexibility allows us to really reflect real time,
Yeah.
you know, what's
Exactly.
going on. So it's like relevant, you know, it would have, you know, it's relevant music that doesn't seem out of touch
Yeah.
to what's going on in the world. So that's one, it helps because the message is about uniting and coming together. And that is out of touch if you're not really talking about real things and real problems, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, just, you know, what you were saying there in terms of maybe changing it a little, I think it is important because people years later will come across this and will be like, okay,
To be able
this,
to
you know,
reflect.
reflect back, okay, this is what happened in 2022, this is, you know, what happened in 2021. So it almost becomes a part of everyone's learning of what we're going through now. So
Yeah.
it's like almost you're being called to do that for everyone and to spread that message.
Exactly. And it's about that live creation as well, isn't it? Because you want to be able to move with it. And like you said there, Banjii, it's about, right, you're going with those times. So you need to think about what is current at this moment, because that's what's going to come from within with that message. So, yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, I think the best art comes when you're being really honest.
100%.
And
Yeah.
so we haven't finished that song yet. I wrote like 11 new verses the other night. And
Part
like,
1 and part 2, maybe.
yeah. But I like to overwrite and then edit, you know.
Yeah.
No, that's important.
Absolutely.
And I think what made you decide to actually bring in the chakras into, I mean, obviously, I mean, I myself, I'm a chakra healer, so I understand totally what you're saying about the chakras, but what made you decide, yeah, we're going to bring it into our music, we're going to make it the theme for our songs?
That's a personal story and experience that I've had for the last few years. So in 2015, I got really sick And, doctors couldn't diagnose what was wrong. And it was just all sorts of different things. I was really tired all the time, and I couldn't eat without getting really, really sick. And so after a year and a half, I had a moment while I was meditating in a hospital in the north of the US. Like I felt like this energy, like a literal actual energy flow through me, and things really changed at that moment. Like I wasn't all the way cured, but it was very evident to me that sickness was more like a spiritual sickness, and not something that is textbook, like this is your diagnosis. And so when I realized that, I stopped with all the medication and all the traditional medicine, and I started researching just things like, and in the beginning I didn't even know where to go with it. Like I was typing, I'm like, things that are moving in your body, because I didn't even think of like,
you should
the word
see
energy.
how many books you bought.
Really?
I'm like, wow, you read it all. I was gonna figure it out.
Like all books, like every kind of book, science book, spirituality book, all different like religions, and I basically went down this path, and that's when I discovered like this concept of energy. And so it's very personal to me, and a lot of the sickness, like the areas that I was feeling like the pain, were actually the chakra points, and so it was almost like the energy was like trying to go somewhere, and those chakra points were where it was blocked. And so that's when I realized that unblocking these is the tool to connection, and is the tool to and I had been on a journey to figure out how to truly connect with people around me. And this was helping me. Like I could see a direct connection between like progress in this area, and then progress in making connections with people and the universe. And I'm like, okay, so this is how you really can connect with someone, is to because everybody really does want to connect with each other, but like they're going through their own spiritual journey, and so I was like, what if everybody can work on their own individual spiritual growth and on their chakras, and then we can all come together as one. Like without doing that, it's not going to happen, because then everyone's at a different stage, of their spiritual growth. And so that's why I was focused on like bringing these concepts into whatever platform I was gonna use. And then meeting him, it turned into music. And interestingly, he was already doing that, but without like, because I do it from like the theory, right? Like with all the books and the stories, and his purpose, like the way he explained to me right when we got together, was very similar. It's like to raise vibrations. But he was doing that exact same thing, but through the feeling, like the actual music, like, and his music, you know it, like it really hits you straight in the chakra.
It was interesting because I had just met her, and she wanted some paintings, so I was going over to make some measurements. So like she was like 3 minutes away, and in that 3 minutes, one of the questions was like, so what's your purpose in life? And I'm like, who is this girl? Like, kind of a personal question. And I was like, all right, I guess if I have to answer right now, it would be to raise the vibrations through music and healing.
Wow.
And she was like, okay. And so in terms of us incorporating the chakras, it evolved because like we were gonna do 12 songs, probably like between 10 and 12 for a record. But we really only loved 7. So we were gonna rewrite stuff, write new stuff. And once we did our first video, we were like, we should do all them with videos and use that media. And it's expensive. And so when we looked at the list, it was 7 of them that we had that were already written kind of in order too.
Yeah.
And then she noticed that they actually follow the chakras. And so we were like, it was kind of a sign of like, yeah, okay, we'll do it like that.
Yeah, because it was already happening. Like the universe, was already pushing us in that direction to make it happen that way.
Wow,
Brilliant.
Yeah, so forget those other 5 songs.
Exactly.
Those are just for us.
And I think that's definitely like, you know, when we were looking at, you know, to interview you guys, we said chakras, music, that's our thing. That's literally our vibe. So
That's awesome.
we have to speak to them. So I'm so glad we got this opportunity. So in terms of balance, so, you know, spiritual balance, which we totally get, we're very much on the same path, but how do you balance being like in the entertainment industry, life itself, as well as maintaining this holistic and peaceful balance between you? How do you do it?
We just hang out with each other. We don't.
Yes.
We're actually. I used to perform so much my whole life, and with COVID, I stopped.
Yeah.
I would do art shows, but I would do some performances at my gallery. But so that's an interesting question, because with this project, we could be booking shows, but we decided not to. That, and part of it is other people's energy. I love people, but I like to be around the people that are you know, aligned with us.
Yeah,
you know.
I think we resonate with that,
don't
we? Positive vibes.
That is the answer, is that we kind of when after we decided, from the time we decided to do this till we actually were able to do it, was also like a lead time of a few months, and we took those few months to first just clean up our lives, you know, in every way, like, you know, just all the extra stuff that you have to manage overhead, because we had like multiple places we were living out of, and
we got rid of 3 houses.
Yeah, so like we just
together.
like, so we kind of just like cleaned up a lot of stuff, and like and also like resolved some relationships, and then kind of let go of some that were detracting from our individual lives. And so doing all that, like, kind of just made the energy a lot cleaner, and so there was a lot less conflict outside of our project and our personal lives together. And that has allowed us to, you know, we travel. I have a day job other than this project, and then he manages this project and our record label full time. So that's the other answer too, that, you know, we have roles very clear, like, you know, like, this is your role, this is my role. So like, he, you know, is manages the day-to-day operations of Kahani Records, and I do like my day job, and then we have like a clear schedule of when we'll record and when we'll film and things like that. And then we have a really good team as well that we've been building over the last few months, who every one of them is exceptional, and they're like, so it's extremely efficient. And I think that is how we're able to do all these different things and still be together.
Because there is always that misconception, isn't there, that because you're on a spiritual journey, or because you're, you know, spiritual people, that others will think, oh, you know, that the day-to-day tasks, you know, the being strategic in everything that you do doesn't come into it. But there's no reason why you can't be like that and also be spiritual. It's, again, that balance, isn't it?
Mayuri's job, she's a strategist, basically.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like a high-level strategist.
That's exactly, and I think that's how, like,
so she brings the spiritual world into the corporate world.
There we go.
Love it.
I like
which
that.
is really fun to watch.
So it's like, it's really fun to it's like, it's really fun to watch.
They're like, I hear what you're saying, but I don't know how to file this. What are the metrics on that?
Yeah, so it's like we're cross-pollinating like worlds that you would not think go together. That is exactly the premise that we're trying to challenge all these different conceptions of how things are done.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like having a conversation with ourselves, the way we
it's really real at the moment. This is amazing, because that's exactly it. Because you know, even for myself, working in the corporate area as well, and trying to bring in that, you know, give peace to the corporate world and bring it back home as well. It's
That's
about
awesome.
maintaining. So let's talk about, like, I mean, I know you both are like very much in the flow of things, which is absolutely phenomenal. But what's next in store for Banjii and Mayuri? Like, what can we expect after the Uncommon Love Story? Or is that basically the path and then you'll reach that when you get there?
So we started a record label last year called Kahani Records.
Amazing.
And Kahani means story in Hindi. And so we signed ourselves with the first artist on Kahani Records. So this is actually just the start of Kahani. And so the next phase is to work with other artists.
Good.
And help them get their story presented, you know, in a way that that supports their story, you know, whether it's visual or audio or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so this is also, I guess, it's not even a test pilot; it's our project. But
it's launching.
It's launching Kahani Records.
Yeah, it's not just launching Banjii and Mayuri. It's actually, that's the end goal, is to launch Kahani Records, because the part that, you know, where I was saying, like the intention, like before all of this for me, was empowering others, like empowerment. And like all the things I was doing before was, you know, I was dabbling in that idea, but the end goal is to be able to empower as many artists as we can to tell their story, and that hopefully, you know, creates some positive change in the world, because like stories are really powerful in like affecting people's mindsets and then choices, and then that affects the world, you know. So
yeah,
that's great.
Amazing.
So we like to ask our guests to share some tips for our audience who need that sort of motivation to move forward, who maybe are thinking about a career in the creative industry, but are probably just sitting back and thinking, no, I shouldn't do it. Have you got any tips and guidance you'd like to share with them?
How old is your audience?
Oh, they vary.
They vary. Oh, wow, yeah.
But it's a relevant question, because I think that it really is, because right now we're working with young artists. So we are actually launching our children.
They're the second people we signed to Kahani Records.
And they're
but they're
extremely
brilliant.
talented.
They deserve it.
In fact, like the younger one, he's 12, Edwin, he featured in, he actually was a star in our third video, Gaslighted, and has won a few different Best Young Actor, Child Actor awards at film festivals for that video, and he just won.
He won 3.
He won 5.
Five. I can't keep up.
Well, he won Best Young Actor at the Cannes World Film Festival, which is a big one, you know, and so for that video, and so that's him. And then our 14-year-old, like, he is a budding musician, but he's amazing. And I do think that, you know, the younger artists today, getting their voice out is really important, you know, because like the children of the world are the future, and they're the ones that are going to be making all the, one, they have inherited all these problems, and two, they're the ones that now have or will have the power to do something about it. So like we are kind of also focused a little bit on it's two different populations, not.
But in terms of just in general advice, was the question about like people wanting to pursue a career in the arts?
Yeah, just to move forward from especially from a heart-centered point.
So I'll say a couple of things, like you said, because there's lots of different ages that we might be reaching. Mayuri didn't start, well, she made money in the arts when she was in India, but then stopped for 10 years and was just in the corporate world, and just came back, you know, when she teamed up with me, and is doing it. Mm-hmm. So I think that's an inspiration, because she like shelved her artistic side, and then when it was time, she opened it up, and like the floodgates are open.
Yeah.
And then like as far as, you know, making it's a hard industry. Like, but I think every industry is a hard industry.
Yeah.
And depending upon what you do, I think the best thing is to develop your art.
Mm.
Like this painter behind me, those paintings sell like hotcakes because he's so good,
Yeah.
right? And but then he put a lot of money into all of his infrastructure.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. That's the hard thing to swallow, is that it does take money to make money, especially in the art world.
And I think that is the big, the thing that this collaboration has brought for each other, and that is what we want to give to people, because all of that advice is perfect, right? Like, you focus on telling your story as a part of the art, because if you are focusing on telling your story, it's going to connect better. And it doesn't have to be a big production. We're not actually spending an insane amount of money. We're being smart about it, so you can do it with less money. You still need funds, but as long as you are efficient and you have all the other stuff taken care of, you're going to be able to do it. That's the second thing. But the third thing of what he said, I wanted to talk about the part of, like, it's impossible to do it without a team, and I think sometimes as artists it's hard, like, because there's like somewhat of an individualistic feeling as an artist to be like, I have to make it on my own, but there is no such thing. And I think, there is no make it on your own. You are in a society that requires you to work with people and actually get help from people that are either able to fund you or support you. And I think,
or that can do things better than you do, and you bring them on board.
Yeah.
Like the best teams are made up of people that are really good at different things, not the same thing. And like another example of like inspiration for people, breaking in specifically with music, is while we can record these things on our own now, like we're recording all of the songs. Well, I'm saying, like, we as a world, like everyone has iPhones. You can buy a microphone and record it in your bedroom and make it sound really good for not a lot of money.
Yeah.
But like the first, I made one album with this band called Homegrown Revival. It was a band I had with my friend Seth Living Good, and we didn't have any money, but we pulled together $5,000 and launched a whole band, and we spent all that money on a really good studio with a really great producer, John Keane, who I still work with. He's working on this project too, and we were able to launch a very successful band with $5,000 because we had a really good record. So we prepared and had the content and practiced. So we went in the studio, we just nailed it.
Yeah.
So money is an issue. Practice more, like hone the art. And still to this day, I'm sure, like, wherever you are in the world, there are really great studios that you can go to for even less than that for a record.
Yeah.
And to just go ahead and give yourself that, like, instead of thinking I can't afford to make a real record, like, save up.
Yeah.
$5,000, or don't do a whole record. Do 3 songs. These days you don't have to do a whole record because nobody's selling CDs either. Yeah. And also what we've discovered and now believe is really music is now digested with the visual. And so incorporating it somehow, whether it's amazing artwork or music videos, I think you almost have to be competitive in this world.
And I think he got all of them. My way, the only last thing I'd say is about, you can, I always used to say before I decided to become an artist in the last, like not a full-time, but like focus on it as a career, was that it's okay to have like, do like 10 years as I did. And I am not recommending someone go down such a long path of not following their art, but it's okay to do it do two things, like have a corporate job that is giving you the grounding and the security, and then you use like your free time for the art, but then the art that comes out of it is really pure, because you're not tying it up with having to earn money off of it.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to worry about like
The return.
and then you can just be yourself fully, instead of trying to fit into a box. And so that is the other reason why this is like really connecting with people, because it is coming from the inside. We're not even thinking about like, oh, does this fit in a specific genre? How do we market it? We don't have to worry about all those things, because we have the security that comes from my work for the last 10 years and my ongoing work, and his as well, his too, and he was a successful art gallery owner and a music school owner and operator. So I think that would be another thing to consider, is that if you put everything.
If you have a corporate job, you should email info@Kahani Records, because that's what we do, is we help develop people that might want to do something that they've been waiting to do for years.
Like an artist, it's in general, like any artist who wants.
We're happy to work with anybody.
Any artist who wants to work with us or collaborate with us.
I, as a teacher, love finding like the people in between 30 and 50 years old that like secretly play and like pulling it out of them. It really is one of my favorite things to do. I'm good at.
He's the best. He really is. I have to say that because I mean it's evidence. Evidence.
Yeah,
it works. It works. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. I tell again, all of those points there are so important, and thank you so much for sharing this really important advice. And again, it's still got that balance. It's still heartfelt and it's still strategic. I love it.
It's real. Yeah,
absolutely. So, where can our viewers find out more about you?
The best place to start would be our website. So that is Kahani, KAHANI Records, RECORDS.com. And our email, he said, info@kahanirecords.com. And then we're on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram as Banjii and Mayuri. So you can find us on any of those platforms. And, especially if you want to directly communicate with us, email us.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time. Banjii, Mayuri, we wish you the best of luck with your project. We can't wait to hear more from you, and just keep up the good work and positive vibes.
Awesome.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Take care.
Appreciate you.
We hope you enjoyed the show. Stay tuned for more Rhyme Entertainment Showcase.